What happens when a global star prepares to wipe away sweat, only to realize the cameras are already rolling? In that single second of hesitation, something far more powerful than any spotlight quietly takes center stage. Tonight on StarWatch Now, we're talking about Xiao Zhan, a stack of tissues, and a moment so small it reminded millions why authenticity still matters. Some moments are not meant to be noticed. They are not rehearsed, not designed, not framed for memory. And yet, they linger longer than anything carefully prepared. This was one of those moments. Backstage, under pressure, surrounded by expectation, Xiao Zhan reached for something ordinary. A habitual gesture performed countless times in private. But in that brief instant, the ordinary was caught by the lens of public attention. Nothing dramatic happened. No words were spoken. No mistake was made. And yet, something shifted. What made the moment unforgettable was not the action itself, but its honesty. It existed outside performance. It carried no intention to impress. It was a fragment of real life, briefly exposed before being quietly folded away again. Audiences did not remember this moment because it was remarkable. They remembered it because it was unprotected. In an environment built on control and anticipation, the absence of strategy felt almost startling. And sometimes it is precisely what is unplanned that leaves the deepest imprint. The pause was subtle, barely noticeable, but emotionally it landed with surprising force. That brief stillness, the second of realization, triggered something deeply human. It mirrored a sensation most people know instinctively. The moment you realize you are being seen when you thought you were alone. It is the feeling of being halfway through a thought, mid-gesture, mid-breath, and suddenly aware of eyes on you. In that pause, there was no panic, only recalibration, and that is why it felt so familiar. Viewers did not see a celebrity caught off guard. They saw a version of themselves, adjusting posture, gathering composure, choosing how to move forward without drawing attention. This recognition created closeness without intimacy, connection without intrusion. The freeze did not expose weakness. It revealed self-awareness. And in a culture where reactions are often exaggerated or defensive, restraint felt refreshing. It reminded audiences that dignity does not require explanation. Sometimes it simply requires silence and the grace to continue. Professionalism is often misunderstood as confidence on display. But true professionalism is rarely theatrical. It is quiet, measured, almost invisible. What followed the pause was not a performance of recovery, but a return to equilibrium. The tissues were folded, the body settled. Focus shifted forward. No apology was offered, none was needed, no humor was added, none was required. This was composure without self-consciousness. Such moments reveal a deeper form of discipline, not one trained for cameras, but one shaped by habit, the ability to regulate emotion without suppressing it, to adjust without dramatizing the adjustment. Audiences instinctively recognize this kind of control. It signals emotional maturity, not image management. In an industry where reactions are often amplified to protect perception, this restraint stood out, not because it was impressive, but because it was sincere. Professionalism, in its truest form, does not draw attention to itself. It allows the moment to pass, intact, undisturbed, and dignified. Trust is rarely built through declarations. It is formed quietly, through consistency and instinct. Unscripted moments earn trust because they occur too quickly to be shaped. There is no time to calculate, no space to curate. What appears is simply what exists. Audiences sense this immediately. In this moment, There was no attempt to redirect attention, no visible concern for optics. The response was proportionate, grounded, and unembellished. That balance matters. When viewers feel they are witnessing a natural reaction rather than a managed one, their guard lowers. They stop analyzing and start observing. Trust grows not because the person seems flawless, but because the behavior feels internally coherent. This kind of trust is emotional rather than rational. It is not based on admiration, but on safety. The audience does not think, "This person is impressive." They think, "This person feels stable." And in a media environment saturated with extremes, emotional stability has become a quiet but powerful currency. Moments gain meaning when they align with patterns. On their own, small actions are forgettable. Together, they form character. What resonated here was not only the pause, but what followed: order, care, and restraint. These are not gestures learned overnight. They are habits reinforced over time. Audiences are remarkably sensitive to this distinction. They can sense when behavior is situational versus habitual. Small habits send large signals: how someone treats objects, how they occupy space, how they respond when attention arrives uninvited. These details suggest internal order. They do not demand admiration, they invite respect. Over time, such signals accumulate quietly, shaping perception without spectacle. Viewers begin to associate a person with steadiness, consideration, and emotional regulation. Not because they were told to, but because they observed it. Character, after all, is not revealed in grand gestures. It is recognized in what someone does when they believe no one is watching. The setting was designed for impact. Lights, staging, precision, scale. Everything about the event pointed towards grandeur. And yet, what lingered online was restraint. This contrast sharpened memory. When spectacle dominates, the human eye seeks balance. Something small, something grounding, something that restores proportion. The quiet moment cut through the noise not by competing with it, but by offering relief from it. Emotionally, contrast works because it activates reflection. It gives the mind a place to rest. The viewer shifts from stimulation to recognition. In that transition, meaning forms. The moment did not interrupt the spectacle. It softened it. It reminded audiences that behind the production exists a person navigating the same physical and emotional realities as anyone else. This contrast transformed a fleeting pause into a shared emotional anchor, something viewers could hold on to long after the lights dimmed. This was never really about tissues. It was about a moment when composure met honesty. And the world paused long enough to notice. Sometimes the most powerful image isn't crafted under bright lights, but revealed in the brief second before we remember we're being watched. If you enjoy stories that look beyond headlines and celebrate the human side of stardom, subscribe to StarWatch Now for more thoughtful insights like this. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for staying curious. Until next time, keep your eyes open for the quiet moments